Hello, everybody. I think we are going to go ahead and get started with this next coffee series. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Hope Klein. I am a health education and food safety field specialist with SDSU Extension. We're excited to have you join us for the Healthy at Home coffee break session today. So today we're going to have two different SDSU Extension field specialists that are going to be sharing opportunities for you to stay connected and participate in health-related programming within your own home. Before I introduce Nikki and Megan, we would just like each of you to put your name, location, and how you heard about this series in the chat box. So I'll start with introducing Megan Jacobson. She is a registered dietitian and nutrition field specialist with SDSU Extension. She serves as the program associate for the South Dakota suite of chronic disease self-management workshops called Better Choices, Better Health. Through collaboration with a variety of local, state, and national partners, she works to integrate evidence-based programs like Better Choices, Better Health, also known as BCBH, South Dakota, to help manage and prevent chronic disease. Nikki is the health and physical activity field specialist with SDSU Extension. Nikki works closely with Extension staff and South Dakota communities to provide statewide leadership on physical activity interventions, programmings, and resources to a variety of sectors. She is a co-coordinator for two evidence-based physical activity programs called Walk with Ease and Fit and Strong. If you have any questions, please feel free to type in the chat box at any time during today's session. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn the session over to Nikki and Megan.
Thanks, Hope. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I hope you have your full cup of coffee or tea or maybe water. I've had a lot of coffee this morning, so I'm sticking to water. This afternoon, I am going to quick start sharing my screen here for you all to see. Is everyone able to see that okay? Okay, it's easier for me if it's not in presentation mode to share the slide, so I'm going to keep it like this on my laptop screen. Real quickly, I'm just going to talk about a few programs that we offer through SDSU Extension and right now how you can participate in those programs virtually. Then we'll kind of have a little in-between break where we're actually going to do a very short guided yoga session. And we're going to incorporate a body scan script that is actually part of some of the programming that Megan will talk about. So it'll be about a 5-10 minute break where you actually get to do some yoga and do a little body scan and give you a very sneak peek into some of the virtual programs that we do offer through SDSU Extension. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, and you'll see here on the screen, is a program we offer called Walk with Ease. So Walk with Ease is a program that was developed by the Arthritis Foundation. It's actually been around since I think the 90s. Just to South Dakota, we've started implementing it in 2018 and training leaders across the state. So some of you maybe have participated or have heard of the program, but overall, in summary, what Walk with Ease is a 6-week walking program available to anybody who's looking to start increasing their physical activity or maybe even maintain their physical activity. So right now, given the current COVID pandemic, we're unable to offer those in-person group-led sessions. So we kind of have two different ways we're offering our Walk with Ease programming right now, and both are done through a self-guided format. So I'll talk about the sole self-guided format, and then on my next slide, I'll talk about another version of the program that's a little step above the self-guided format. So our self-guided format is done through all correspondence through email. We send 2 weekly emails to participants, and it's really a individual-led walking program. So it's up to the individual what their walking goals are, where they're going to walk, what days of the week they're going to walk. We serve as kind of the motivator, the resource sharer of ways to get moving, to keep moving. And we send you a participant book that further expands on that information. So it really is an individual-led group individual-led walking program that we have available. Our next session, we have a slide here at the end of the presentation too that lists the next upcoming opportunities to participate in them, and we have one starting in June. We have some that are actually currently happening right now, but we're past registration for those sessions. So as I kind of briefly mentioned, everyone within the session will receive a Walk With Ease workbook as part of the program. And overall, what the program does is it teaches individuals how to really make walking a regular part of their lives. We cover different stretching and strengthening exercises. We go through different motivational strategies to keep you moving, get you started moving. There's also a variety of health education topics we discuss, which include managing symptoms, so some joint pain, stiffness that might be common, especially if you do have arthritis. We talk about ways to build stamina, and really over the course of the 6 weeks, we encourage you to increase that increase that walking distance and time that you're shooting for. So as I mentioned, we have another version of our self-guided format that we're offering, and this is called our Take a Step and Walk With Ease program. So in addition to those 2 weekly emails I mentioned in the solely self-guided format, what makes this one different is we incorporated a weekly Zoom opportunity for participants to join, just like this, a live opportunity to talk, ask questions. We provide a little more education on some of the information that's covered in the booklets and also in our emails. But it's a way to increase that interaction just a little more outside of the email correspondence. Besides that, the session looks very similar. We have very similar topics. It's really, again, just the opportunity to kind of bring a group-led format to our self-guided format, so participants have that opportunity to interact with other participants. So we are currently in week 2 of our first Take a Step and Walk With Ease. We don't have dates set for the next session, but we're anticipating we'll have another one scheduled sometime this summer. And again, at the end of this presentation, we'll talk about ways to register and stay up to date on some of these upcoming opportunities. So if you are interested, we can talk about that, or we'll share some of our contact information too. So even shooting us an email anytime, we're happy to keep you in the loop and put you on a wait list as soon as we have workshops scheduled. So just real quickly, the target audience for our Walk With Ease program. So as I mentioned, it was developed by the Arthritis Foundation. So basically the outcomes that they studied to make this an evidence-based program primarily looked at the population of individuals who have arthritis. However, we don't want that to sway people away from participating, because really anybody can benefit from physical activity, especially walking. So it's open for individuals who have arthritis. But if you don't have arthritis, you can still participate, so it's still open to you. We've had participants range in the level of beginners to not being active in a very long time or in their whole life, to individuals who are very physically fit and maybe walk a few times a week already, and they're just looking for a way to keep staying motivated, or in the instance of our group-led sessions, they're looking for that group environment to keep them walking. The only kind of requirement before you sign up is that you're able to be on your feet for 10 minutes without increased pain. And that is, if you use a cane or walker, that's okay with a supportive device. It's really just so that you're able to see success in this program and start walking and then building up that stamina over the course of 6 weeks. So that's kind of a quick overview of Walk With Ease. Again, we'll talk about how to register and where to find information about the programs at the end here. But kind of as an in-between, as we flow from Walk With Ease to Megan talking about her Better Choices, Better Health, I am going to stop my screen share. And we are going to go through a very brief yoga flow. So I know everybody is somewhere different, probably at their home, really wherever it's comfortable. Feel free to get comfortable wherever you are at. As long as you can hear my voice, you're good. Don't feel like you have to have your video on. I'm going to leave my video on. I tried to arrange my house a little bit so you could see me. So I'm hoping when I move, I'm still within sight. But again, really just get to wherever you're comfortable. And here just wanted to make sure I could still see everybody if you have your video on. Okay. I think for the most part you can see me, but Megan, maybe give me a little wave or something if I'm doing something and you can't see my legs. So to get started, very easy, we're going to start with just some seated breaths. So as I mentioned, get comfortable in that chair. For some, it might be having your back against the back of your chair. For others, it might be sitting more in the middle of that chair. Try to bend those legs 90 degrees. Hands can rest right behind the knees there. So you can't really see my legs very well, but that's okay. And it's really up to you right now. If you're more comfortable keeping your eyes open, you can. If you feel like you can get into more of a relaxed state, feel free to let those eyes just close. Start focusing on your breath here. Just bring a little awareness to the breath, inhaling. And then exhale all that air back out. And as we start to settle into this place, go ahead and set an intention for your practice. Maybe you didn't know you'd be doing yoga, joining this coffee break. But now that you are, think of something you want to get out of this short segment of yoga. Maybe you want to leave with a feeling of strength. Maybe you really need that moment of relaxation today. It's been a stressful Tuesday. Or maybe you just want to take the time for yourself and really just be in the present moment and just be listening to my voice, following my cues. And now that you kind of thought through that intention, try to keep that at the front of your mind as we just slowly flow through some of these gentle stretches. Inhaling, and then exhale all that air back out. Staying right here. Or if it feels comfortable, you can add a little arm movement as you inhale, reaching those hands up overhead, reaching for the ceiling. Then let out a nice big exhale. All the air comes back down to the sides. Do that again. Inhale, reaching up towards the ceiling. Exhale, push that air back out. Let's do one more, really trying to fill those lungs. Inhale, get all that air, reach, reach, reach. Exhale, push that air all the way back out. Now what I want you to do is inhale and bring those arms up 90 degrees at your sides. And what we're gonna do this time on the inhale is we're gonna hunch forward like we're rounding that back, bring the elbows together. And then as we exhale, we're gonna open that heart, open the chest up to the ceiling. And again, move through this flow at your own breath, kind of warming up that upper body, those shoulders, letting go of some of the tension. If you've been sitting at your desk or your computer for a while, loosen up those muscles, continuing to breathe. Let's do one more full breath, rounding the back, and then opening up the heart. And go ahead and let those hands fall back to your sides, fully relaxing. We've all probably done shoulder rolls, so we'll just warm up those shoulders a little bit. So go ahead, take your shoulders, push them up, forward, back and around like you're making a full circle with those shoulders. Again, loosening up that upper body. Breathe. Then go ahead and let's switch directions, same thing. Pushing the shoulders forward, then up, back, and all the way down. Good job. Hopefully those shoulders are feeling a little loose. And let's relax. Now we're gonna take our left hand, inhale, my hand's gonna go out of sight. Inhale up over your head, and we'll just slowly bend towards our right, stretching all the way from your wrist to that hip, maybe holding on to that chair or wherever you're seated so you have something to hold on to. Exhale, come back center, lower that hand, same thing, switch sides. Slight bend to the side. Feeling a full stretch from your hip all the way to the wrist, keeping the elbow tucked to your ear. Don't hold your breath. Exhale, back center. Let's do one more each side. Maybe trying to stretch a little deeper this time. Really tuck the elbow to your ear. Breathe through the stretch. Come back center. Opposite side. Same thing. Back center. Lower that hand. Again, shake it out if you need to. Now what we're going to do, you might not be able to see my hips very well, but what we're going to do is just do a gentle side to side, like we're rocking from each hip on those sit bones from side to side, kind of warming up that lower body a little bit. Doing a gentle rock. If you want to get a little more oomph in your rock, you can definitely do that too. It's whatever feels comfortable. One more each side. And then slowly relax. And then just like we did in the beginning, we'll bring those arms back up to 90 degrees, fingertips pointing up to the ceiling. And this is going to be like a seated spinal twist, but we're just going to twist to one side, bringing one elbow forward. Come back center. Twist to the other side. Make sure you don't hold your breath here. Come back center. Let's do one more time, each side, stretching that spine. Back center, opposite side again. Back center. Exhale, lower those hands. Let's all take a nice big inhale, reach those hands up overhead. This time with the exhale, you're gonna lead with your chest, pushing it towards your knees. This is where I might go out of sight again too. Coming into a seated forward fold. Your chest is gonna fall towards the knees. Let those arms and the crown of your head kind of fall like they're hanging towards the floor. Taking nice full inhales and exhales. Kind of letting all the weight in your head and those shoulders just hang. And then as soon as you're ready, slowly take your time. We'll come rolling back up to a seated position, going up each vertebrae. Roll out the shoulders. Shake it out a little bit. So now let's meet right back where we started for the session, or not the session, for this yoga sequence. So get back into that fully relaxed state. So again, maybe envision you have a pillow behind your head, or if you have a pillow and want to go grab one, it might get you fully relaxed. Let those shoulders relax down. Palms can be placed right above your knees, either inviting those palms up, open to the ceiling, or just having them rest right above the knees. Take a few deep breaths here. And then slowly bring that mind back to the intention you set for this short practice today. Again, whether it was to be present, to feel relaxed, to feel strong, or just be in the moment. Gently guide those thoughts back to your intention. So as you get into this fully relaxed state, I invite you to close your eyes. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm going to take us through a guided body scan that is part of our Better Choices, Better Health programming. So I do need my book for this, so I will be reading that. So as you get into this comfortable position, allow yourself to begin to sink comfortably into the surface below you. You may perhaps begin to allow your eyes to gradually close. From there, turn your attention to your breath, breathing in, allowing the breath gradually to go all the way down to your belly, and then breathing out. And again, breathing in and out. Noticing the natural rhythm of your breathing. Now allow your attention to focus on your feet. Start with your toes, Notice whatever sensations are there, warmth, coolness, whatever feeling is there. Simply feel it. Use your mind's eye. Imagine that as you breathe in, the breath goes all the way down to your toes, bringing it new, refreshing air. And now noticing the sensations elsewhere in your feet, not judging or thinking about what you're feeling, but simply becoming aware of the experience your feet as they allow yourself to be fully supported by the surface below you. Next, focus on your lower legs and your knees. These muscles and joints do a lot of work for us, but often we don't give them much attention they deserve. So now breathe down into the knees and the calves and ankles, noticing whatever sensations appear. See if you can simply stay with the sensations, breathing in new fresh air, and as you exhale, releasing tension and stress and allowing the muscles to relax and soften. Now move your attention to the muscles, bones, and joints of your thighs, buttocks, and hips. Breathing down into the upper legs, noticing whatever sensations you experience. It may be warmth, coolness, a heaviness, or a feeling of lightness. You may become aware of the contact with the surface beneath you, or perhaps the pulsing of your blood. Whatever's there, what matters is that you're taking time to learn to relax deeper and deeper as you breathe, inhaling and exhaling. Move your attention to your back and chest, feeling the breath fill the abdomen and chest, noticing whatever sensations are there, not judging or thinking, but simply observing what is right here, right now. Allowing the fresh air to nourish the muscles, bones, and joints as you breathe in, and then exhaling any tension or stress you're feeling. Now bring your attention to the neck, shoulders, arms, and hands of your upper body. Inhaling down through the neck and shoulders all the way to the fingertips. Not trying too hard to relax, but simply becoming aware of your experience of these parts of your body in the present moment. Turning now to your face and head, notice the sensations beginning at the back of your head, up along your scalp, and down into your forehead. Then become aware of the sensations in and around your eyes and down into your cheeks and jaw. Continue to allow your muscles to release and soften as you breathe in nourishing fresh air, and allow tension and stress to leave as you breathe out. As you drink in the fresh air, allow it to spread throughout your body from the soles of your feet all the way up through the top of your head. And then exhale any remaining stress and tension. And now take a few moments to enjoy the stillness as you breathe in and breathe out. Feeling awake, relaxed, and still. Now, as we bring this body scan to a close, coming back into the room you're in, bring with you whatever sensations of relaxation, comfort, peace, whatever's there, knowing that you can repeat this exercise at any appropriate time and place of choosing. And then as soon as you're ready, if you had those eyes closed, take your time and open up your eyes. It's always hard to transition out of such a relaxed state. So hopefully that was a quick moment for some self-care. It's always, even when I'm doing it myself, I realize how much I need it in that moment to do it. So I hope it gave you that experience, but also especially it gave you an insight and maybe to a little bit of our programming and what we offer through some of the programs that Megan and I are going to talk about. Before I turn it over to Megan, I think I have one more slide that I'll turn my screen share back on. So since I did talk a little bit about our programming, anytime we talk about physical activity, it's always important to mention, you know, what the current recommendations are. I myself personally lately have been feeling almost overwhelmed with the amount of resources and different things that are out there on what I should be doing for my health, and maybe what opportunities I have. But I feel like the most important thing to remember is finding things that are you enjoy and that any movement counts. So even if you didn't get that 30-minute run in today or 30-minute walk in today, if you could still squeeze in a short 5-minute walk or 5-minute exercise in your house, it still counts. So this slide here just shows you the recommendations. So adults are encouraged to shoot for that 150 minutes of aerobic physical activity each week. And in addition to that, 2 days of muscle strengthening. So some yoga where you're doing some work against resistance, weight training, and other forms of resistance training every week. So that's just kind of to give you an idea of what you can be shooting for. I also included the recommendation for adults and children aged 3 to 5. But again, going back to that any activity counts, finding what you like, what's going to keep you active. If you like competition or having those challenges, maybe find somebody within your family, either at home or a friend, or there's lots of opportunities right now to do some virtual challenges. So finding those opportunities to do virtual challenges to really get you motivated and keep you active. And then also another message is really just trying to sit less and move more. I feel like especially during this time when you're maybe indoors or you're not out moving as much, trying to find those opportunities where you can just squeeze in a little movement, maybe during commercial breaks, or if you're on a Netflix binge, at least in between episodes, getting up and moving a little bit to incorporate a little movement is great. As Megan's talking, I am going to put in the chat box just a few different links to different resources that do have some either online virtual exercise classes you can join, or additional kind of tips of ways to stay active, especially during this unique COVID time. So feel free to check out the links if they're of your interest. A few are yoga, a few are more in general, just movement, dancing. So if you're looking for those type of resources, I'll put a few of those in the chat box. All right, well, Megan, I will just leave my screen here up, and then if you just want to tell me next slide, whenever you need, I will do that.
That sounds great, Nikki. Thank you so much. And I truly enjoyed that, that guided relaxation and those stretching. So thank you for doing that today for everyone. I'm a little bit more relaxed, let's just say that, than when we started. So I love that. Okay, so today I'm just going to overview our chronic disease self-management program that is known locally here in South Dakota as Better Choices, Better Health. And I would love to see if people can just type in the chat box if you're familiar with Better Choices, Better Health. Maybe you've participated in one of our workshops, or maybe you've seen some information about it online or on Facebook, or maybe you've heard from a family or friend who's participated in the program, or maybe you heard about it through work. I would love to, if you're able to, kind of hear about your awareness of the program. If you could do that in chat, that would be really fun. So like I said, Better Choices, Better Health offers chronic disease self-management education programs. And we have a suite of current offerings that we provide currently. We have programs for just a general chronic disease workshop. We have one specifically for chronic pain, one for diabetes, and then our newest addition is for cancer. And the workshops are evidence-based, and so they were developed around 30 years ago at Stanford University. And so with that, they are continually updated with the latest research, and they really go through, all the different workshops go through some tangible skills that we all can use on a daily basis to help us manage our health. no matter what condition we may have, what health condition, or maybe we're just interested in learning some techniques that would help just manage things that a lot of us deal with on a daily basis, like stress, maybe some anxiety. And so therefore, they're really for anyone. We do require that an age limit though, so you have to be an adult to participate in the program. All of our offerings are free of charge, and we currently have been offering our in-person workshops. And so, like Nikki said, you know, with COVID-19 and the pandemic and social distancing, we have had the opportunity to look at how we can offer or deliver these programs in a different way so that people can still access them. I'll get to that on the next slide. But on the bottom of this slide, you'll see some companion materials that come with the workshops. So for our chronic disease, our diabetes, I think those two programs have the Living a Healthy Life with Chronic Conditions book, and that's this blue one right here. And that one comes with a relaxation for mind and body CD, and that has the guided meditation that Nikki just read aloud. It's on an audio CD along with, I think, 4 other versions, excuse me, of guided relaxation. So once you register for the program, you will also receive those materials. And then for our chronic pain workshop, we have a different version of the book, which is Living a Healthy Life with Chronic Pain, which is this one. And it does come with a CD as well. And this one is called the Moving Easy program, and it's just right there on the inside of your book once you receive that. And it goes through, it guides you, audio guides you through doing some seated chair stretching. And so there's also some visuals within your book on what those stretching activities look like, but the CD is a nice guide that you can pop in and listen to as well. Okay, Nikki, you can go to the next slide. Excuse me. Okay, so one of the components that we learn in the Self-Management, Better Choices, Better Health workshops is on healthy eating. So since Nikki touched on the physical activity component of our programs, I wanted to touch on the healthy eating section. So throughout the workshops, no matter which one you attend, you'll learn some tips and tricks and just some basic guidelines that we can utilize. And for healthy eating, it's really focused on learning about how much we eat and what we eat and how we can make healthy decisions to improve our conditions, our health conditions, no matter what we're dealing with. And so one of those skills is reading food labels. And so we have a fun activity in the program where we ask everyone to bring some pantry items from home or anything with a food label. And then we take time to look at the food labels. So for example, I have some peanut butter here. And so we walk everyone through, turning it over and kind of looking at the ingredients and seeing maybe some hidden ingredients that can be in things if we only look at the front label and not turn it around and do some exploring and research about what's in the product. And then we also learn all of the components of a nutrition facts label. So if we're not familiar, if we've never really looked at that label, it can be really confusing at first. And so learning words like serving size, portion size, what's the difference, what do they mean, and how can I use them to make healthier choices. So that's a really fun activity, and it's broken down into an easy to learn, easy to learn way. So, the tangible way where we actually have the food label, but then you have recommendations or guidelines in your book that is yours to keep that you can always reference. And it's a skill that you can practice when you're at the grocery store or when you're cooking and you're utilizing those items. We also touch on the plate method, and here's a nice visual on the slide of what that looks like and how you can prepare a balanced plate for your meals. Okay, Nikki, you can go to the next. Oh, one thing I guess I did want to mention too, we focus on what's called the self-management toolbox in the workshops. And so you can see here all of the tools that are touched on in the program, and healthy eating is highlighted just because I touched on that or pulled that activity for today. But we also provide a lot of skill building around physical activity. So Nikki touched on those guidelines of what to aim for, kind of how to set goals around that, some nice stretching and meditation. And we practice problem solving during each of the sessions of the workshops, and decision making, because those are tools that are so necessary for kind of overcoming some barriers that may hinder our progress in reaching our health and wellness goals. We do touch on medications, just an overview of ways, you know, if we're on medications prescribed, or maybe we take some over-the-counter medications. We talk about ways to remember to take them. So we really address those everyday life situations where that can either help us or hinder us. So we talk as a group. Let's see here. So we do action planning too. So that's in the toolbox, and we do that after every session. We make an action for the next week, and then we do some feedback at the beginning of the week to talk about how our action plans went. We do breathing techniques. We talk about sleep and using your mind. So using distraction, for example, to help us manage maybe some pain that we may be dealing with. We touch on understanding our emotions and how to communicate with our loved ones, maybe about our condition, or maybe some feelings that we're trying to express. We talk about how we can have maybe a difficult conversation and get our feelings across. We also talk about how to communicate with our healthcare team. And so they're a huge part in helping us manage our health and our conditions. So how do we play an active role in that, in our healthcare team? And just, I guess I didn't touch on this, but the workshops, most of our programs are a 6-week meeting time, and we meet in groups of anywhere from 8 to 20 at a time, and community settings. We do have a worksite version, which we meet 2 times a week for 6 weeks. But that's kind of the layout of the program. And then the workshops are all facilitated by 2 trained Better Choices, Better Health leaders. Okay, so on the next slide is laid out kind of what's new. So during this time, we are transitioning our in-person delivery of the programs to have people be able to access them virtually over Zoom. So the platform that we're using today to connect. So we'll be launching our in-person workshops over Zoom here, hopefully within the next month. And we are, so if you see anything on Facebook or on our website, if you visit there, we have information on the last slide for how you can visit us online for our website and also our Facebook page. But if you see anything about Better Choices, Better Health Live, that's what we're going to be labeling these new offerings. And we're going to be launching our chronic pain program first. We're also going to be launching a new wellness series. So it's not only new to being offered over Zoom, but it's just a whole new series. And we are packaging the Walk With Ease self-guided program that Nikki talked about with our chronic pain program. So it'll be a little bit more intensive for someone who is ready to set those goals, get reinforced by the self-guided walking program emails and support, and then kind of have some touch-in calls with leaders to help you through those stretches and kind of provide you more support and answer any questions that come up. And that will be a 6-week series as well. Then we will be adding our newest addition to our program, which will be a mailed toolkit. And this is a self-guided toolkit. So once you register for this program, you will be mailed a toolkit with everything that you need to kind of walk through the chronic disease self-management program materials. You'll receive the book, the relaxation CD, and some other worksheets that will help you get started. Along with that toolkit, you'll also receive weekly check-in calls with trained Better Choices, Better Health leaders. And they will have kind of a script to go through the things that you will be learning in your toolkit as you go through it. And then they'll also be there to answer any questions you have and provide additional support. So that's our at-home series for Better Choices, Better Health. We're so excited that we have this opportunity to launch the programs in a new delivery mode, and we are excited for people to be able to connect with us and our leaders. We have about 50 leaders located across South Dakota, and all of our leaders, well, most, if not all, have chronic conditions themselves. So this is really a peer-led program. And especially during this time when we are all self-isolating, spending a lot of time at home, it'll be a nice opportunity for us to connect and, you know, go through some things that we may be really struggling with, or have concerns related to our health during this time, and be able to connect with others and know we're not alone, and have some you know, learning around what tools we can use no matter where we are to help us out with our health. So Nikki, I think on the next slide here, we kind of show what's being offered right now. So Nikki mentioned the Walk with Ease self-guided program, and I guess I'll turn it back over to you. I don't know, are the registrations closed for this one? Or this one's starting in June? So people are still able to sign up?
Yes, that top one there, the June 8th to July 17th, is on our website, and I'm not quite sure what our exact deadline is. I might have to look, but usually it's up until the start date. So we prefer you register ahead of time just so we can get your workbook sent to you in a timely manner, and you have it for the start of the session. But otherwise, yep, that is on our extension website. I'm just going to jump to the next slide here. So the upcoming ones, like as Megan mentioned, and then as I mentioned briefly too, all will be posted. We actually kind of have two ways online where you can find all the workshops and register, and that's through our extension website. So if that's how you registered for this coffee break series, it's kind of in a similar format. Usually if you click events at the top, it might show you the most recent events, or it might be easiest to just do a quick search for either Walk with Ease or Better Choices, Better Health to find the most recent or upcoming workshops. I can't remember if Megan mentioned this already, but there is also a toll-free number where it's actually both of our programs are connected through this number. So if you call that number, there's a way to get connected to upcoming workshops as well. So that number is listed up here, as well as a way to find out about upcoming workshops. Or if you have specific questions, you know, maybe that you're curious about. You know, we've got questions before, maybe more so for our group-led sessions, but, you know, what's expected of me, or do I have to walk? If somebody's walking 20 minutes, do I have to walk that? And just questions like that are very specific to the program. You can call that number too. So that, Megan, I don't know if you have any final things. Otherwise, we can maybe open it up for questions either through chat, or if you're comfortable unmuting. We have about 16 minutes. We can answer some questions.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for some questions to come in. Oh, was someone going to ask something? Or maybe I heard some feedback. I was just going to say, I did mention social media. So I said Facebook. And I forgot to put it on this last slide here, but if you want to follow us on Facebook, we'll be posting more updates and information there as well. So for Better Choices, Better Health, if you just type in BCBHSD, and I could type that in the chat too, you'll find our page. And then for our Food and Families capstone page, Nikki, is it at SDSU Food and Families, I think?
Yeah, I think it's SDSU Extension Food and Families.
Okay, so we can type that in the chat too. But another great way, if you're already connected on Facebook, you'll be able to see we share evidence-based resources from our other partners and stakeholders across South Dakota. So we love to share all that information with our followers. And then you'll also be able to register for these programs too. So we post our events and our workshops and a variety of other just health and wellness information. So. Okay, we do have a question from Irina, I see. So would this program work for individuals who have arthritis in their feet if they can't walk a minimum of 10 minutes without pain? So Nikki, I will let you answer that. Maybe it's for Walk with Ease.
Yes, hello Irene, or Irina, maybe. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it okay. Yeah, you can definitely still participate. The main requirement is just that you can be on your feet and walk for a minimum amount of time. We've had participants who, their goal really is maybe to walk in a gym, was to walk around the gym once. So it's not really that you have to walk that requirement of 10 minutes. It's more so that you're comfortable being on your feet and doing a set goal of walking however long in terms of minutes or however far in terms of distance. So definitely, and it's really, as I mentioned, it's an individual goal setting type program. So we really encourage you to set your own goals. We provide tips again and resources of how to help you meet those goals and set those goals, but it's really up to the individual on what they want to get out of the program. There's no requirements of how long you need to walk or how far. So hopefully I answered your question. If not, I definitely would love to have a further conversation with you, just to make sure I'm answering your questions. Yes, thanks for the question.
Yeah, great. And that's another thing I just love about these programs is that no matter where you are or what your goal is, it really meets people where they are, is what I'm trying to say. And it's fun because for the group workshops, we get to hear from a variety of people and really learn from others. That's another big concept of the group Better Choices, Better Health workshops is that, some new ideas may be brought to the table that you haven't tried or that work great for other people, and you can try them out and see if they work for you too. So.
Okay, I'm not seeing any further questions or hearing any, but definitely if you think of anything, feel free to reach out to us. Maybe when I'm done talking here, we can type our email addresses in the chat box so that you have them. But yeah, if you think of something later today or later this week, feel free to email us. Right now, it's probably the easiest way to get a hold of us just because we are all in remote locations. We're not in our office phones. So that might be the best way. Also, thank you for joining. I'm not sure if this is maybe I think we're on week 5 of our coffee series. So maybe you've attended all 5, or maybe this is the first one you've attended. Either way, thank you for attending either the series or our Healthy at Home session today. We do have our 6th session next Tuesday at the same time. And next Tuesday, that's going to be on accessing local foods during COVID-19. So I encourage you all to attend that session if it works for your schedules. I also just wanted to say, so when we first started planning this, we scheduled 6 weeks, but Extension and our Food and Families team is working on offering more webinar opportunities like this throughout the summer. It might not be necessarily in a series type setting, but we have different topics that we're going to be talking about over the course of the summer. So I encourage you to just check our Extension website frequently to, as the ways we've mentioned before, to stay up to date on what opportunities we have. We also are always open to feedback from other individuals across the state on what type of information that you're looking for that would really be beneficial. So we're open to that feedback as well. So other than that, that's all we have for you today. Okay, hold on, there was one more question. I'm not sure if they're talking specifically about farmers markets. I know it's Prairie. Megan or Hope, do you know who is presenting with Prairie?
So Rhoda Burrows is who is presenting with Prairie, and I think, sorry, you're probably getting a lot of background noise right now. I think their main focus was going to be on community gardens and access to fresh produce. So I don't know that it's specific to farmers markets, but I think you could definitely pitch the question, and I think Rhoda might have good answers. Sorry.
Thanks, Hope. No problem. Don't apologize. I feel like we've been there. And I was also going to offer, I know there was an article, I can try to link it to in our chat box. We're giving you all kinds of links, but I know there was an article just published on our Extension. Oh, there's Megan. She's on it. But there was an article just published on our Extension website that is specific to farmers markets and COVID. So there's an article, although it's not this webinar, that we can also share as a resource. Perfect. Thanks, Chris. Okay. Not seeing any other questions, but again, feel free to reach out if anything comes up. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful, I don't know if it's raining across the state, but I live just over the border in Brookings, so I'm actually in Minnesota, and it's been raining all day. So it's kind of a rainy, gloomy day.
Yes, thanks everyone.